What's going on, people? Welcome to the player ratings. Chelsea won, Palace won, and we are here to discuss those individual performances, some great performances, and some interesting talking points. As always, get involved. Leave your comments in the comment section down below, giving us your ratings, as well as leaving a like and subscribing if you're new to the channel. Joined by Patrick here. Patrick, good day. Good day with the point. But let's get into it. Let's get into some of those incredible performances. And let's start off with the one and only Dean Henderson.
Wow.
A 10 from me, 9 from you. I'll be honest, Patrick, I'm going to hold you accountable for this. How on earth, just explain, apart from you just holding tight onto the number 10, how on earth do you not give Dean Henderson a number 10? 10 out of 10 in this game.
You're right. I don't know.
I think it's like a psychological thing, like people do. Like, I was thinking as well, oh, you can't really, like, it happens when I do my ratings, I'm thinking, I can't give 10 out of 10. But then I was like, hold on, when am I going to give him a 10 out of 10 if I don't give him a 10 out of 10 today?
Okay. I know.
I mean, he was called upon. He delivered in the first half, the second half.
Yeah.
Glasner gave him praise. The players gave him praise. The whole, team is very happy with him, as well as the fans. For me, he was my man of the match. Without Henderson,
and mine
maybe
too.
we don't win that game. Well, not win. It felt like a win, but maybe we don't get anything out of that game.
No, listen. My man of the match too, and he was outstanding. The save against Doucoure, 22nd minute before the goal was brilliant. The save on Cole Palmer's free kick, second half was brilliant. The one-on-one with Jackson when he's getting all was brilliant. But it wasn't a clean sheet. Now, that's not why. It's not against him because he couldn't do anything about that. But that's the only reason. And that's just being real nitpicky. But he gets a 9.5. Because, I mean, a 10 out of 10, you kind of have to have a clean sheet. So I want to hear people comment in the chat about, oh, still a 10. And honestly, D, you gave him a 10. I'm not arguing. I thought he was outstanding today. He was really good without him. Because, the XG against would have been was 2.80.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? So he was brilliant.
And he delivered. And look, it's funny because it doesn't feel like it, but well, it feels like it, but yeah, you're right. We didn't have the clean sheet. But then I'm thinking about all the saves he made and how much worse it could have been without him.
Much
so
worse.
That's my reasoning behind it. Let us know your man at the back in the comment section down below as well. Let's move on to Danny Munoz. 8 from you, Patrick. 7 from me. I'll be honest. You can get onto me here because why didn't I give him higher than a 7? Now thinking about it, I mean, 75% passing accuracy, 7 out of 13 ground duels won, 2 out of 4 aerial duels won. Very involved going forward with his one-touch passing with Daichi Kamada as well as Adam Wharton down the right-hand side. It was a very good game, I thought, from Munoz. Now I'm thinking about it. Why didn't I give him a higher rating than 7?
It's all good. No, you gave out the stats and they were really good. And what I really liked is the relationship between him and Kamada. It's getting there. They linked up so well second half. He put a brilliant ball in for Kamada. Kamada had a shot that was almost went in and went through Sanchez's hands. They're just really getting a great relationship together. And that's important because we all talk about, how important is Lise and Munoz were last year and they were really good together. But no, I thought he was very solid. And even though I thought that who's on that side? It was Neto's on who's on that? Oh, that
Neto,
was
Neto's
side. Yeah, I thought he did a decent against Neto today because Neto didn't definitely more Madueke today than Neto. So yeah, I think it was solid today, very solid.
Yeah, I could have given him high as well. Nathaniel Klein also very solid today. We both agreed on the 7 rating, 71% passing accuracy, 3 out of 3 ground duels won, 1 out of 3 aerial duels won, but overall, very solid performance down the right-hand side. I mean, both him and Munoz locked it down.
I have to give a lot of credit to Klein because obviously, listen, he's not a regular start. That's his first Premier League start, although he did start the game against Norwich. But to come in like that, like he did last season, and perform, yeah, you want to give credit to the manager for whatever, but you got to give credit to the player to step in like that and produce. I mean, he wasn't perfect today. He wasn't. There were a couple of times when he looked a little shaky, out of position, but just overall to perform in a back three that he's not familiar with again, even last year, okay, he was in that back three. So it would have been Richards and Anderson. So develop a relationship that quickly and be part of a team that played really well in that little, that mid block all day. Very solid, man. Credit to Klein. Very good performance today.
I can't wait for the following week when we do the match preview, because the talking points are already there. I'm not going to discuss it here, but exactly, what happens with that defense, especially if he's performing at these levels. Let's move on to Gahey. You gave him an 8. I gave him a 7. In fact, I'm going to be brutally honest here. There's no point shying away from it. I was actually thinking of giving him a bit lower. Then I thought that might be a bit harsh. The reason for that is I thought it's weird. I thought he had a very good game, but he had 1 or 2 moments where he fell asleep, which could have cost us. In the second half, Jackson ran in behind, which Henderson,
yes, I have that note. Yes.
And then the first half, pushing up the pitch, which we've seen before in the Glasgow system, but he left that hole in defense, and then they ended up scoring from it. I was going to give him a 6, but the moods are high, so I thought, let me not be harsh and give him a 7 instead. But for you, Patrick, an 8? Did you not think about some of the stuff that I thought about?
Like, no, I have them written down. I have them written down. But I still think that he did a really good job in marshalling. Because remember, when you're playing in that center, you have to marshal both Richards and a new client on each side. So I want to give him credit for that. I honestly think a 7 is a fairer score than an 8. I don't think it's a 6, honestly. I thought he played really well. He had 7 clearances, 2 out of 2 area duels won, 2 out of 3 ground duels won. But you're all right. There were moments like the push-up. When he pushed up, he got caught out for the goal. Definitely his fault. Ball over the top. That actually, I think it was the one. I think it was Madueke shot it wide on the overtime. But it might have been Jackson, whatever. But you're right. Those were 2. It was definitely Madueke hit it wide. It was every 21st minute. But having said that, I just think he played well besides that. So again, we can criticize, players, and they make mistakes. But the mistake doesn't lead to a goal. Obviously, pushing it up did lead to a goal. But I think a 7 is probably fairer. I don't think it was a 6.
Yeah, that's why I gave him. Yeah, that's why I gave him a 7. Like, I could have given him a 6 for the reasons I've listed, but he also had very good defensive moments as well. But yeah, I mean, if we're going to be fair, it's good to look at both sides of his game. Chris Richards, 7.5 from you. I did give him a 6, unlike Gahey, because maybe we could ask questions for the goal that we conceded. Could he have done a bit better? It was down the left-hand side. Will Hughes, of course, couldn't catch up to the Chelsea attacker. And then, Richards, in fact, Klein was actually involved as well, but Richards pushed up. Was that, could Richards drop back a bit to follow the runner? I mean, I don't know. Look, he was down the left-hand side, and I just have questions whether he could have done a bit better defensively down that side.
I thought it was solid passing the ball, solid defensively, 5 clearances, 4 headed, 1 recovery. Yes, it's on the left-hand side, but again, I think the left-hand side, the 2 primary players on the left-hand side are going to be in order, Hughes and then Mitchell. So, yes, if Mitchell's up, that's Richards' up to get over. But like you just said, the cross from Cole Palmer should have been broken up, I didn't say it, by Klein. And at that point, after that, it's a tap.
What about the moment before that? Before Cole Palmer even got into that position to put a cross into the box? I mean, I didn't mention in the Klein thing, but could he have closed down the attacker who gave the ball to Cole Palmer in the first place? That was my question about it. Maybe he could have stepped up.
It's a good point. It's a very good point. But again, remember, it's a counter-attack team. When you're counter-attacking, everyone's out of position. Like you said before about Gay. Had taken the ball forward to the 18. Once he does that, what does Richards do? Does he cover Gay's position? Or does he slide over to cover Mitchell? Do you know what I mean? It's difficult. Listen, I'm not arguing. I'm just saying that it's difficult to kind of decide who's really at fault. I really think that if we stop the cross, as good as a build-up, a counter-attack, by the way, it was by Chelsea, I don't think Richards is the focal point. If you say it is, that's fine. I think Gahey being out of position and then Klein not stopping the cross are more at fault. But even Klein, man, Klein's the right-sided player. He went to the left side to try and help out.
Yeah, exactly.
It's tough. But
I thought we had a very good segment. Of course, doing these ratings right after the game, these questions come about.
It's a good point, though. It's a good point.
Maybe I'm a bit harsh on Richards there. Moving on to left wing back, Tyreek Mitchell. You gave him an 8, same as Munoz. I stuck with my rating as I did with Munoz as well, with a 7. It was solid. Maybe his passing could have been a bit better, 64%. I felt like Munoz got involved a bit more in attack than Tyreek did. But the main part about Tyreek was his defensive work. Madueke, who scored a hat-trick last week against Wolves, Tyreek in the second half ended up causing him to get subbed off. I know in the first half we spoke about the goal. That's, he pushed up. It wasn't really his fault. But when he was actually one-on-one defending Madueke, he done a fantastic job.
And that's where I'm not looking at stats. He had to face D for 90 minutes plus Madueke and Nkunku. And you said it. The week before, Madueke had a ridiculous hat trick. And Nkunku is RB Leipzig, excellent player. So to play against those two players, none of them had a goal, any G&A. And yes, we look at the stats and say the passing wasn't great and he was out of position for the goal, and he was. But I just think defensively against those two players, to shut down them and to keep them in check. And he shut down Nani totally, because Nani had some moments. But overall, he wasn't involved. I think Mitchell deserved credit for that. So I didn't look at stats for this. I looked at that and said, yo, Mark, he stopped Nani, he stopped Nkunku. That man deserved an 8. So that's just how it was.
I wonder what the stats are. So 4 out of 6 ground duels won, 1 out of 1 aerial duel won. So not bad in terms of ground duels.
They weren't bad.
4 out of 6. Yeah. Moving on to the midfield, Adam Wharton. You gave him a 7. I gave him a 6.
Okay. Let's talk.
Look, 2 out of 12 ground duels won. I just feel like there's something up with him. And Glasgow mentioned it in his press conference as well. He did speak about him needing a rest. Because he's got an issue and he's dealing with. But I thought his passing was, all fine, etc. But maybe he just committed a bit too much into his tackles, and 1 or 2 times the players did go past him. So yeah, he just looked a bit tired, and he also lost possession 15 times as well.
All right, so I'll throw a couple more stats because again with him, it's more of an eye test of what I saw after. So 4 clearances, 9 recoveries, very good defensively, 60 touches, 80% passing. But here's the thing that you maybe didn't notice. They being Chelsea, had Enzo sit on him for most of the match. He went back to centre half, and that negates what he was trying to do. Once Enzo went to centre half, you saw how much Wharton got more involved, and we'll get to it later on, how important it was to have Doucoure. Hughes, again, unfortunately, made Wharton do too much work today, and that hurt. And that's why I gave him what I gave him. If you want to give him that lower, that's fine. He had a good shot on goal in the 15th minute that was saved. I thought, again, he wasn't his best performance. It wasn't Wharton-esque, and you're right. He definitely maybe looks a little bit tired or whatever, fatigued. But I thought that their strategy to put Enzo on him negated him. And when he was free second half of the Enzo shadow, he was able to work with Doucoure and Eze to open things up more. So that's why I gave him the score I gave.
Yeah, but for me, it was the thing before it where tactically I think they got it wrong there, but facing it, he needs a rest, and thankfully he's gonna have that rest. He's gonna have that rest because he's a fantastic player. Even as you said, when Enzo did drop into defense, he had some great moments with the 1-2s, especially with Munoz. As I said, Munoz, Kamada, and Wharton, they had them connections. But for me, at times, as you said, it might be down to Will Hughes, which we'll talk about right now. He just got left behind a bit defensively, which I know that normally he would put in them challenge and get the ball. So it seemed like he was just working too hard for his liking, unfortunately, in the circumstances he's in with the injury. Will Hughes, 5 from you, 4 from me. That early yellow card messed us up. We spoke about the goal. He couldn't do anything about slowing down the counter-attack because he was already on a yellow. And in fact, I won't go against Chelsea fans saying that he should have got sent off. He should have got another yellow card. It wasn't a great game from him. He did try his best, but that yellow card just kind of ruined our entire midfield, to be fair, because our midfield changed when Doucoure came on.
Yeah, it's a shame because I remember during the preview, I said to you, I wanted to have him start because of what he brings, that niggleness, that tackling, and it got him in trouble. Once he had that yellow card, he couldn't do, you're right, because on that counter-attack goal, he could not bring down, I guess it was Palmer, right? It was Palmer he could have tackled on the counter. Yeah. He chose not to, right? He couldn't bring him down. But I agree with you. I think he should have gotten red carded. Or it might have been Madueke who passed the ball out wide to Palmer. Whoever it was, he couldn't do anything about it. For me, very, very lucky not to get red carded. To me, that's the second yellow all day. So we don't do referee rating, but credit to Jao Gillett because he kills the game if he does that, and he didn't give him the yellow card. And unfortunately, what happened with him on that second yellow, we were always vulnerable to the transitions, and especially on our left side. I think someone said it. I think every goal we get this season have been done on the left side counterattack. That's an issue, and it's not just Mitchell.
Yeah, I said it in my reaction.
Right, it's not just Mitchell.
West Ham, Brentford, and the Chelsea game now. So that left-hand side is clearly a problem there in transition. Kamada, you gave him a 6. I gave him a 7 because this was.
I thought I gave him a 6.5. But whatever. I thought it was 6.5.
What was that?
I thought I gave him a 6.5, but it's okay. 6.
Okay.
Okay. That's what I wrote down.
I saw 6. But when it comes down to his passing accuracy, only 85%. But for me, it was more the eye test. In tight spaces, he done well beating the Chelsea press and getting out of that and creating opportunities. Whether that's going into Munoz, you cut inside, or Munoz that went down the wing, or Wharton. I was very impressed by his game, especially in the second half. He grew more into the game. And yeah, we're finally seeing the signs of Kamada. He had that shot as well, which was a fantastic save from Sanchez. But yeah, Kamada, best game out of the 3 so far this season.
Yeah, I agree. Not involved much early, but later in the second half, got more involved. And again, as I mentioned before, the relationship between him and Munoz is starting to build. That shot was a very good shot, edge of the box. You know, he could have, scored. And he put a great ball, that helped create a chance for Eze, like 66 minutes. So, no, I'm liking what I'm seeing. It's not there yet. But again, expect a player who came from a different league to just hit the floor running. It's not fair. It's his 4th game now. Yeah, right. 3 in the Premier. Right. 1 League Cup game. It's coming. I like what I'm seeing. And what I wanted to see is progression, and I'm seeing progression. That's all I can ask for. So I thought he did really well. And again, Stamford Bridge away, 13 times he lost to them. Home and away, it's not easy. Good performance by Kamada today. I think so.
Yeah, and Ebbs on the score sheet today. So I still give him 7. You give it 7.5. People are going to think, what on earth? He scored a goal. But for me, the first half, I was very disappointed. I just didn't get what he was doing in the first half, slowing the game down on a counter-attack. I didn't, and that goes the same with Kamada as well. In the second half, he was involved more. But with our attacks, it was more down, felt like down the right-hand side rather than the left-hand side. So, I mean, when he was called upon with the goal, he delivered. But despite that, I don't think he had like a 9 or 10 type of performance despite the goal. Am I being too harsh?
No, but you didn't give him. None of us give him a 9 or a 10. So we're good. I thought he played quietly in the first half. I agree. Didn't want to push, but much more involved in the second half. Was part of everything we kind of tried to do. Left, right, center, he was involved in. And you got to give credit, a lot of credit for that goal. He makes very hard finishes look very easy. That is not an easy goal to curl it around the keeper. Sanchez had no chance. Doucoure is involved in it, good for him. But it's a very well taken goal. Credit to him. So no, I think it's 7.5 just for the goal, just for the goal and the point. But there were other parts of his game I thought were very good. He had 3 shots. He had a chance creation, played well defensively. I was a little disappointed towards the end of the game. He must have been tired because him and Sarr both weren't working hard enough, I thought, in the 90th plus minutes. But they were both, he especially would have been tired. But no, I thought Eze, especially with the goal, deserved his rating for me anyway. And even yours, it's fine.
Yeah. Mateta, he got subbed off for Ismail Assar. Really struggled to get into the game properly. You can talk about lack of service, maybe. Only 12 touches the whole game, which was kind of crazy, the fact they played 70 minutes and only 12 touches. But yeah, I mean, I can't give him higher than a 5 with 12 touches.
And that's fine. I just think that he was starved. So we just talked about how invisible and quiet Kamada and Eze were in the first half. That's because, in addition, that just hurts Mateta. They don't get in the ball. What's he supposed to do? I mean, the guy was fouled 3 times in the first half out of 11 touches. So clearly, Chelsea worried about him. They kept fouling him when they could. So, but again, very quiet game, very isolated game. It happens. All right. So, it's what it is.
Yeah. Check. He's back. And I've been waiting for this show. Waiting. And as I said off air, I gave him an 8 and you gave him an 8 as well. He was the game changer. Henderson saved us, but he was a game changer in midfield. Very composed on the ball, like the Doucoure that we know. But interestingly, Glazer didn't sub him on at halftime. So he's clearly not still 100%, but he's fantastic. I mean, I don't know about the stats. This is pure eye test. I haven't even looked at the stats just yet. But the way he just controlled that midfield with the passes in tight spaces and going into space, just fantastic player. And him and Doucoure are going to be an amazing pairing.
Wharton. You said Doucoure twice. Him and Wharton.
Him and Wharton are going
to
be amazing.
So excited. I love it. You're excited.
Exactly. But I've been excited. I've been waiting. for this moment. I think they're both pairings. They work fantastically. Both press resistant, very good on the ball. Looking ahead with their passes, progressive passes, and we saw it. We saw it today. The game changed.
Yeah, so good that Chelsea changed their strategy. They dropped Palmer from the 10. He kept dropping into the defense to get the ball because they couldn't do what they do with Hughes on the pitch because, you know, him on the left side, Palmer's like he wasn't getting involved. No, he was brilliant. 11 out of 12 passes. He misplaced one pass today, by the way. One recovery, one headed clearance, one interception. In the short amount of time he was on the pitch, which is about 40 minutes, he was brilliant. And you've talked about it. I have. We all have. That Wharton Doucoure double pivot is going to be difficult for most teams in that league to deal with. Today, Caicedo and Enzo, when they were together, couldn't handle them. They couldn't handle them. They had to change their strategy too, and they're just so good. The press resistance is important, D, because he can now, in tight spaces, work with Wharton and get balls out wide to Eze, to Mateta to feet, maybe back to the defense to Gay for a long ball. It's just different, man. The guy is a different class. I felt bad when he got injured, but it's funny how life works, D. Had he not been injured, he probably would have been off because someone would have come in for him. Guaranteed, like a Liverpool, who were tracking him for a long time and wanted him and didn't even buy it. Didn't buy a six.
They're looking for number
perfectly.
6 as well.
So life is funny, bro. It comes at you weirdly. So no, brilliant by him. I'm so glad he's back. Hopefully during the time. And real quick, shout out to Glasner, how he managed him. Everyone that I know, especially in our chat, was saying, get Hughes off at halftime, get him off. And he waited. Yeah, honestly, it could have cost him.
It was a risky game, though. We'll talk about Glasner, but it was risky.
But it was because it's clearly because he doesn't feel that Doucoure is there yet. So he's not. He's my point. He's managing his minutes. He's not trying to. He's not doing a quote unquote throw him in against Brighton and have him come off 4 minutes later. You know what I'm saying? He's managing it. I like that. So credit to Glasner. So
let's go through the subs. Ismail Assar, the other 2 subs, of course, because Doucoure is 1, 6 and a 5.5 from you. Didn't have that many touches. I can't remember him having that many touches, but interestingly, he came up front. Came on up front, which was telling because I do think that's going to be his position at Palace in the long run rather than number 10. And yeah, he had 1 or 2 moments with the ball. He wasn't bad at all. It was exciting, and it was the type of player which I was looking at when looking at the bench. It was very limited, but he had the pace to cause some trouble. We only had 13 touches, 9 out of 10 passes completed, so 90% based on that. But yeah, he didn't have much to do.
But funny, he had 13 touches, but 3 of them were chance creation passes. So he was involved. I like what I saw. Very short, about 20-minute cameo. But I like the fact that a couple of times we tried to get the ball into him, either over the top or in the channels, which you don't really do a lot for our other striker. Maybe we will do for Nketiah. But no, I thought, you know, he worked hard. I mean, you know, when he was a good outlet. Again, I don't think he really wants to be a number 9 on his team, but he did it for the team. He took one for the team, and I think he did a good job. And again, everyone that played today helped us get that point. So you got to give him all credit in whatever form. So yeah.
Schlupp, we both gave him a 5. He was barely on, so there's nothing really to talk about there. Right. And then Ollie Glasner, I gave him a 9. My reasons are I've listed it on the match reaction. 13 wins in a row, Chelsea against Palace. He stopped that. He done that whilst having last-minute injuries with Lerma, player fatigue issues, one of the weakest benches that I've seen since we got promoted about 11 years ago. And he stopped that run with his tactics. Maybe I was thinking, actually, I'll be honest, I was thinking of giving him an 8 because I was like, that Hughes thing could have gone hugely wrong. If you got that red card, then I would have looked at Glazer thinking like, come on, that was a bit dumb. But it did work out in the end. Thankfully, Hughes didn't get a red card. But yeah, he ended that winning streak. And next time we face them, forget about ending it. I want to beat them. And I think we can with him in charge, especially with everyone fit.
Yeah, I agree. Listen, working with a very thin squad, again, showing what he did last year, he can get water from a stone. Did a great job. Listen, this team, man, who I don't think is overly that good, always beats us, finds ways to beat us, late goals every time. But no, listen, having a makeshift back 3, a midfielder on a yellow card for a lot of the game, no real impact subs that you can think of, a really good number 6 who's coming off an injury. You're trying to kind of get him back in there slowly. I thought, again, brilliant, man. Tactics, brilliant. You're right. The Hughes thing could have been, you know, it was a very risky thing to do, but it worked out. And I think the tactics were great. Using that mid block, trying to counter when we could, getting Doucoure in and having him kind of mess up their plan to get Palmer in the pockets was great. No, I thought, again, that he did really well. I'm a big fan. I've always been a big fan of him. Yes, we can critique him. We gave him a 4, I think, against West Ham. But again, overall, we have a gem of a manager, and we're very lucky to have him. Very lucky.
Yeah, we are very lucky to have him. But that's it for the player ratings. Let us know your ratings in the comment section down below. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe if you have enjoyed the content. And until next time, up the Palace.